Shout out, man. Shout out to Broder. We miss you, brother. Can't wait to get you back on the show. I know you will be back with the Woo Crew tomorrow. We got everybody else here. KG, JB, that dude Justin, intern Chase, Flannel Sam, and your boy Kool-Aid. And we got Rod for one more segment really quickly here. So you already know it's a Wednesday. We got to cover our Woodward Pistons segment. And there is a couple things of note that we have to talk about. I know Flannel was like, you know what, man? I'm glad you got some questions. I guess it has to be my job. If I don't have the questions on this Wednesday, then you know what? Remove me from the position. But let's get this drum roll started for the GOAT. Let's rock. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend that is Detroit News, Rod Beard. Thank you again, brother, for your time as always. I got a few questions concerning the triumvirate for the Detroit Pistons, K. Cunningham, Jalen, Duren, Jaden Ivey. But any thoughts that you have first, brother, before we get into it?
The Olympics are not letting us down at all. We get U.S. Serbia in the semis, and Canada going down was big too.
Yeah, no, I've loved the Olympics. I've been a little miffed sometimes at the rotations that Steve Kerr has run out there and just kind of tracking who did not play from game to game. But overall, I know he's trying to find the right lineups to kind of battle the different lineups and matchup issues they're going to face from other teams looking to try and bring their best to beat Team USA. But I've been a fan of USA basketball this Olympic run. What about you, Flannel?
Oh, yeah. I've always thought it was interesting that some of the old guys like LeBron and KD are still some of the best players on USA. Even a damn near 40-year-old LeBron and a 35, 36-year-old Kevin Durant. Love to see it, but I cannot even imagine how Steve Kerr, all of those great players.
How do you balance?
It's a great problem to have, but you've seen games where Tatum didn't play and Joel Embiid. It's just it's crazy to manage all that talent.
Yep. But yeah, USA basketball, man, it's definitely been fun. I'm looking for this team to continue to just cruise. Obviously, they have the talent. It is the best talent in the world. And honestly, I've really liked how Anthony Edwards has looked personally. I was talking about this with Lindsey Hunter as well. Who's that new alpha face of the league? Whether we've had faces of the league, there's always been those guys who've been kind of those alphas as well. I think AE has a good chance to be that guy going forward, not just with USA basketball, but also clearly in the NBA as well.
No, I think so too. And what I like about this Team USA and the run in the Olympics so far is they haven't had to have LeBron be this 35-minute warrior to carry them in a game yet. They've been able to split it around and spread it around a little bit more. Steph hasn't had to be Steph. I mean, Book has been really good too, but they haven't had to rely on one guy just to be the lead guy and to do that. And that's something that's good to see too.
Yep. And just one more note, Bam Adebayo, I thought that he's been one of the better kind of underrated or X Factor players for Team USA throughout this thing. Yep. And, I talked to a couple people, and we talked to Greg Kelser as well, who said that he thinks Bam is a good kind of arc or goal for Jalen Duren to kind of try and get to. And it kind of transitions us into this conversation as it relates to when they brought K. Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey here to the Pistons via the draft. We all believed that was going to be the Pistons' future, the top three. And right now, more than any other time, there's a lot more questions involving what are they even valuing as it relates to a Jaden Ivey. I believe that you don't want to close the door on the ceiling yet, but there's been some reports via Hoops Hype. Teams with new leaderships, the Detroit Pistons and the Charlotte Hornets, may end up feeding the rumor mill as their directions coalesce. NBA sources, they were wondering if Jaden Ivey is part of Detroit's long-term plan. And when you read more of that report, I get the sense, Rod, that Trajan Langdon and Cole might have been testing the value of one Jaden Ivey. Why? Because we've been talking about this. Based on how the contracts are drawn up, based on the fact that K. Cunningham just got his rookie extension, Jaden Ivey's a top 5 pick, and Jalen Duren's a guy that we know they valued as a top 5 on their big board. These guys are up for paydays. They can get an extension this coming summer or the summer after, and the Pistons have to make a decision. So I'm not surprised. We are like kind of at the precipice of that doorstep right now. The Pistons have to decide what are they going to do with a Jaden Ivey. So I wanted to be able to get your run on or your take on these types of things. I know you've covered pro sports for a long time. Jaden Ivey in the rumor mills. What do you think kind of fleshes out from this this type of speculation?
No, I think it completely makes sense. And if there's one guy that you want to kind of gauge his value and see what you can get, I think it is Jaden Ivey. And he can get you something back if teams are really, really interested in him. He has, I would say, fairly high trade value. You're not going to get number 5 pick value, but teams see the potential in what he can add to their roster, and they may be able to give you something for him. But I think that's the one. I don't think you look at Duren the same way and say he's expendable. He's somebody that teams are going to give you that equal value for. They may even give you a little bit more for Duren. But Ivey, I think, is the one that you look at because that position is one where you can go out and get somebody else on free agency or in a trade and get you some veteran help there. That's a critical position that you needed at.
Yeah, what it says to me as well is that maybe the Pistons have already started to kick the tires on trying to assess the trade value of a Jaden Ivey. And you have to be able to do that. Nobody should be untouchable right now, even if you still have high expectations for a Jaden Ivey. But to me, it seems as if GMs believe that he's going to, and NBA sources, that he's going to feed that rumor mill, then it's because they probably already tried to do something this past summer and realized that value is not where we need it right now. Because right now the Pistons are still in control. They can still tell Jaden Ivey next summer, hey, let's get to the summer after and see what we got going on. But you want to make sure you can build up that value with him as much as possible. With the Jalen Duren, I believe that that's a decision that, based on how everything is looking, I don't think that, like you said, that there's any question. He's one of those guys that I believe is firmly a part of this future. But there are some things that he has to get done when you just kind of look at the top 10, top 20 centers in blocks, steals, stocks, even things like rebounds and such. I would like to see a little bit more consistency from Jalen Duren. And from a defensive standpoint, you look at the defensive rating, there are some jumps he has to make. But we already know the flashes he put up. It's just that consistency. We see him come out with fire sometimes, and he's absolutely on one. And other times, I don't see that same 20 and 10 type guy who's hitting 74% from the floor, getting a couple of mean blocks, throwing it down and all of that. But for him to be firmly a part of this future, if the Pistons are going to make those decisions, he has to take that next step. It shouldn't be as close for us to be able to wonder what would a Nick Claxton look like here with the Pistons, when I believe that Jalen Duren's ceiling is so much higher than that.
How old is Jalen Duren?
What is he?
20?
20, 19,
yeah.
20?
Yeah, he's 20.
20.
Mm-hmm.
So in all things being equal, who takes longer to develop, a 20-year-old center or a 20-year-old shooting guard? It's a 20-year-old center.
For sure, yeah.
We've seen enough from Jalen Duren to suggest that he has the tools that he's going to need to be successful in the league. It's just going to take time for development. We've seen the clips of him with the select team and what he's done. That's a dominant 2010 player when he gets in the right system and he gets the right pieces behind him. And if you want to look at causality and you say, is replacing Jalen Duren going to make Jaden Ivey better, or replacing Jaden Ivey going to make Jalen Duren better?
Ooh.
It's going to make Jalen Duren better.
Yeah.
So if you are looking at how to make this roster better, and one of those, you have to choose between those two, you're going to keep Jalen Duren. And that's all we've been talking about is if you had to do one, if you had to pick one or the other, you take Duren. Duren has the skill set and in a position that you need that. Can he become more aggressive? Can he impact the defensive end a little bit more? Yes. I think he's a little bit closer to his ceiling and what he can do than what we've seen so far from Jaden Ivey. Ivey can get there, but he's at a position that is much harder. There are many more better shooting guards in the league, and he has more development to do to reach his peak, which he can do. And I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but I'm just saying from a raw skill standpoint and who can impact this roster a little bit more, I think Duren is a little bit closer to that.
Those are bars. And that question right there, you know what, who to commit to long-term, Ivey or Duren for the Pistons, that's a question there because you're right. It's not
can you do both? Would you do both?
Ooh, that's the
question. I don't know if you can.
Turn to both.
You'd be making a significant financial commitment to say both. And if you have to choose one today, it's Duren.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the fit would have to be impeccable, him playing with Cade in order to even consider that. But that was a great point that you brought up, Rye. And I just wanted to talk about Cade a little bit because we've been talking about everybody else this year, the team around him and things of that nature. But Cade is the one that is the one on this team, and he just got paid. So me personally, I feel like
and you are driving and you're in the paint. You got 2 feet in the paint and you want to kick to the corner. You're looking to see who's in that corner. But if it's a guy that you don't have confidence is going to make that shot, you're going to take that shot yourself. You don't want to risk that, and you don't have confidence in that corner man. I think now looking over there and you've got a Malik Beasley or a Hardaway or even a Tobias Harris, I think that lends a little bit more to his confidence to kick that out. And defenses are going to have to adjust to that, and that's going to give him opportunity to eat in the paint and do whatever he wants to do. I think just having this roster a little bit more balanced with that veteran presence at several positions is going to help Cade.
Yeah, and you know what? That was a perfect transition because I needed to be able to make sure that we brought this up on the pod as well. We didn't discuss it when it first came out about 6 days ago via the Dunk Central. An anonymous executive says he feels bad for Cade Cunningham and calls the Pistons situation a mess after drafting Ron Holland. And I want to address that really quickly too, but I want to get to the quote. I feel bad for Cade Cunningham. They've been rebuilding for years, even though they've never planned on it, and this pick signals they might need to blow up the roster and start over again. I just don't see how Holland plays with Asar Thompson, Jaden Ivey, and all their other young guys. That situation is a mess. Even when Holland was scoring in Vegas, it was so ugly to watch. I disagree with the Holland slander. I don't know where the Holland agenda came from. I understand that he might not have looked the way that Pistons fans wanted as it relates when you're looking at a Reed Shepherd or a Dalton Connect. But what the upside swing that they took with the Ron Holland, who was just one of the #1 prospects about a year and a half ago, I understand why they selected that. With Cade Cunningham, I do believe the Pistons have to do more. But in terms of this aspect of an entire rebuild, I don't think so. I believe that what this signals anything more than anything with the Ron Holland and the Bobby Clinton picks is that the Pistons are actually not going to rest on their laurels. They're not going to just continue to spin their wheels with just a bunch of young players here. They've already made moves to bring in 3 solid veteran players that play and that played on good playoff teams last season. Each one of the teams, all of these guys either made it to the finals or had finals expectations. Those are the vets that were brought in here. With this Cade Cunningham stuff, we've talked about it as well, though. And we've talked about it before the contract extension. He's committed now. He's locked in. And I don't believe that he's going anywhere anytime soon. But I just wanted to be able to get your thoughts on it with those reports kind of floating around before we wrap this segment.
No, I think the Ron Holland slander is really just wild out of the blue. I mean, and certainly I was in the group that said just trade the pick. And would you rather have, what does he get, $8, $9, $10 million? There's not a lot more that you could do with that in the trade market or free agency. Would that have allowed you to get Tyus Jones?
Ooh.
Probably not. I mean, you would just have additional cap space. Do you want cap space or Ron Holland? I guess Holland is fine that you can have there. It gives you another trade chip if you feel like you need to move on and do something else. But yeah, I think it's just having the young guys. But that reckoning is coming where what we just talked about, you're going to have to pay these guys. And so that's where the change is going to be, that when they decide who they're going to keep, who they're going to pay, what this roster is going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years, that's what's going to separate the wheat from the chaff. So that's what you look forward to if you're saying this team has it or doesn't have it, is the decisions that Trajan Langdon's going to make in the next couple of years.
Yep, and perfect, because I was just about to say, these windows are writing themselves based on the contract situations. Decisions are going to be made soon because of the way that Troy Weaver drafted, bringing in multiple first-round picks in 3 of his 4 drafts. I mean, now the Pistons are going to have to make decisions over players that they might even believe are promising. But Piston fans are going to get something. You know that within the next couple years, there's going to be even more major decisions made. This time, the overhaul is going to be with the players rather than what we just saw with the front office. But, Rod, you brought the heat, man, with the Lions, with the Pistons. I appreciate you as always, man, making the time for us. People are commenting on your dope hoodie, too, the Wayne State hoodie. Any last words for the people?
Happy birthday to the man right there, Kool-Aid. Happy birthday. Happy 25th to you.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. My brother, man. Thank you so much, Rod. This has been a journey. It's been something that's been it's going to impact me for the rest of my life. I appreciate everything that you do for not just me, but also for the Wake Up Woodward crew and so many other people. Sports Editor-in-Chief, Detroit News, Rod Beard. Thank you for your time, brother.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
Thank you, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
All right, guys. Have a good Wednesday.
Have a great day. Thank you, brother. And let me tell you guys about Swiss Insurance, and then we got to get back into more Detroit Lions training camp talk. Now more than ever, it is critical